Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of any of the other channels? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They don't even read any of the other comments. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about the Super Bowl, of course, and we're talking about the 49ers lose in OT. Was taking the ball first the wrong choice? Obviously, this will go down in books as one of Shanahan's biggest mistakes. Just like how, the blunder, or how they call him out for losing against the Falcons, and now add this one to the list because this is bad. Bad. I cannot make sense of it. The only argument that I could understand is if you thought the Chiefs defense was tired and gassed, and so you wanted to take advantage of that. You didn't want them to rest after a potential long Patrick Mahomes, drive, but it just makes no sense. The advantages you have are so significant when you take the ball second. You have more information, so you know whether or not you need a field goal or a touchdown, or if you need to punt the ball for that matter. You also know that you will be going on it on every fourth down if the other team scores. You will be going on it. That gives you not only an extra down, which is massive. Having 4 downs versus 3 downs is massive. But also, at the same time, it changes your first, second, and third play calling because you know you're going for it on 4th down. It changes everything. And it puts pressure on the Chiefs to figure out, it's 4th and 2. Do we go for it, or do we kick, or do we punt it? And when the Chiefs were 4th and 1, there's a good chance that if they went first, they would have punted it. But instead, they went for it, got the first down, and won the game. So it just changes everything.
With Brew, do you think this decision cost the 49ers the game, Brew?
I wouldn't say cost the game because, again, and I said this after the Baltimore loss, even though they made some errors, you just feel like Mahomes would have found a way. I mean, after watching this. But I don't think it was the best decision. I get him wanting the ball third, but remember, Kansas City and Andy Reid said this would have been their plan. Had the Niners scored first, a touchdown. If the Chiefs scored a touchdown, Andy Reid said they were going to likely go for 2. So that third possession is not even guaranteed.
Good point.
And I did think initially, because I think Romo may have mentioned it, that maybe the defense, he was tired, so that's why he went ahead and took the ball first.
What?
But
Shanahan then said that wasn't it.
Oh, okay. But that I thought, okay, maybe that makes a little sense. But I think he should have taken the ball because it just gives you control. And after they made the field goal, my first thought was, man, Mahomes now has 4 downs, right? So, and they got him in a 4th and 1. 4th and 1 from their own 34.
They're going to punt.
They're going to punt that, right? Possession. And so then it becomes sudden death after that. Yeah. So it was a wrong decision. And I'm going to say this: Kyle Shanahan, we all know how great he is offensively. And it sounds odd to say, like I'm starting to think of him a little starting. I'm not fully there, but like Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni was a great mind offensively and changed the game.
Pumpkin alert?
No, but this was the challenge with D'Antoni, why he never could win the championship.
That's fascinating.
Lack of attention to detail. So when his players got in a fight with San Antonio, the Spurs stayed on the bench. The Suns got off the bench. And you watch those series with D'Antoni, his team always fell apart because of some lack of attention to detail. Now, that sounds odd to say about Shanahan because his offense is so detailed. However, not telling your players, when Andy Reid said, the Chiefs player said, we went over that constantly, the new rule in the overtime. The Niners, he didn't even bring it up to him. That's a lack of attention to detail. And, Nick, I know you like this. At the end of the first half, when the Chiefs have that 4-minute drive.
That's where I thought he made a big mistake.
Yes, he had timeouts left. He could have probably got the ball with a minute and a half minute left. And now maybe you go down and get a field goal. Yep. Instead, they got it back with 20 seconds left. That's a lack of of attention to detail.
Well, that to me is a lack of confidence. Like that I thought that was a far bigger mistake.
And
Go
quickly,
ahead,
there's been 7 Super Bowls where a team lost double-digit leads. He's involved in 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, it clearly cost him the game. I don't think it was the definitive reason why. I don't think it was the full reason why they lost this game. Like, I don't mind the decision of him saying, you know, we're going to take the ball first. Once he explains and gave and provided explanation of why he did it, then and it made sense. Like, I understand. He felt like, you know, we're going to go down and score. If they go down and score, then we get the ball, and now it's sudden death. That's barring you don't know that the other team is potentially going to try to go for 2. Right. All those things. But for me, I can't sit here and watch this game the way that it unfolded and say, wow, that decision to do it cost him the game. Now, obviously, what it did do, it provided Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in our game, to arguably to ever do it, the opportunity to sit back and see exactly what was needed.
And a free down.
You can exactly. And you can't that's where it's hard to make it make sense. When you know the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes on the other sideline, then would that change my mind? Probably. Because I want to be able to react and respond to him versus him being able to react and respond to me.
Right. Well, I'll answer in a moment, but I want you to be able to go, Wilds. This is a guy you put on Pumpkin Alert.
I put on Pumpkin Alert.
That's what I'm saying. You put on Pumpkin Alert. And what did you think of how the game went down and then what his players said afterwards?
Look, the guy was on Pumpkin Alert only because he lost a 25-point lead to the Patriots and a 10-point lead to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
The only reason I put him on Pumpkin Alert is because once they were up 10 points, this is how nervous I was. Like that. I was like a combination of Mahomes and with a little dab of Shanahan. I felt totally confident in the Chiefs. Totally confident. So the fact that I felt totally confident that he would open up the window just enough for Mahomes to burst through, pumpkin adjacent.
So I think the error at the end of the first half, like I understood the argument of it could only be sudden death at the 3rd possession, and we wanted that. And I think from an analytics perspective, there's mixed feelings on what's better. I know this as a Chiefs fan. I was like, please let the Niners take the ball.
Yeah.
Please, I was. And so this is where I will criticize him as someone that was living and dying with that game. He did multiple things I was so happy about. The thing that I will give him credit for is going down 3, going for the touchdown on 4th and 3. It was gutsy. But at the end of regulation, when he has the 3rd and 5, and they get a first down and they're kicking a field goal, what I was terrified he was going to do was run the ball and then go for it on 4th and short. I was terrified he was going to do that at the end of overtime. When they have the 3rd and 4, what I was not terrified there because then Mahomes still gets the ball, is that he was going to run the ball and then go for it on 4th down. I think the bigger mistake was even when Purdy in overtime throws the incompletion, I think there's an argument you can make, you go for that 4th down. Because if you don't pick it up, the Chiefs are not in 4-down territory. The Chiefs are backed up at their own 6. They're not in 4-down territory. Maybe they get conservative. My best case scenario was, other than stop them on the 3rd and long, 3 and out, is, field goal, great. Now we have 4 downs and Mahomes can kill you. So I didn't think the decision was terrible, but as someone rooting for the Chiefs, I was thrilled he made it, and I thought it was
Well, if you, as a Chiefs fan, that's what you're rooting for, and as an educated Chiefs fan, which Nick Wright is, despite what maybe many think, therefore, and if that's what you were hoping for and rooting for, and Shanahan did that, then therefore it was a bad move by Shanahan, right? If it was the opposite of what Andy Reid would have done, 3-time Super Bowl winning Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the history of the NFL, it was a bad decision. So I want to address what Bruce said about Mike D'Antoni. For those of you who maybe don't know basketball very fully, which I hope you do, because now that the football is over, we're going to be talking a lot about basketball. He's kind of really seen as the reason why the 3-pointer has become so popular. Obviously, it was still popular to a degree, but he was the one that really led the offense of just like, we are firing up threes, right? And it was this whole idea that it's threes or layups, that mid-range games, again, analytically, it's just not as good. And so you just got to fire up the threes. And it really kind of changed the modern day NBA, and it's why people now are just heaving up threes nonstop, and why even people like Steph Curry has become Steph Curry to a degree. Steph Curry was always going to be Steph, but D'Antoni was a big part of that. And it works, right? It's obviously works. It's worked for the Warriors and some other teams to a degree. But the reality is, as Bruce said, that some of those teams fell apart, and there was also no other nuance, because the Warriors won championships also through mid-range shots, okay? Through huge Kevin Durant mid-range game is unbelievable. And the Warriors had a couple other players. Of course, the one guy's name is completely slipping my mind, Sean Livingston. Unbelievable mid-range game. And that way how they won their first championship was because he was like literally going like 10 for 10 from like the mid-range. I mean, like just outrageous. 5 for 5, whatever it was, just like would not miss. It wasn't threes or layups. And that's the little nuance that, D'Antoni's teams, missed and didn't have. So in the playoffs, they would lose. They couldn't win. They couldn't finally get it done. And so we say Shanahan is such a genius, and he is, and all the things that he can do are brilliant. But then in these little moments where you have to really, with the nuance, Andy Reid just smashes it out of the park. And Shanahan doesn't. And those are the differences. But with that said, Andy Reid had problems when he was the head coach of the Eagles. And he had terrible clock management. And there was plenty of times, and granted I was pretty young when these were happening, so, this is just based off of more feeling memory than actually understand what's happening. But people would be like, what are you doing, Andy? Call a timeout. Or, you'd be like, what are you doing? And he had to work to fix it. Or I think he even had someone on his staff to actually take care of clock management and stuff like that. Let him know, Andy, it's minute 30 left or whatever. And so all that matters. And again, it took Andy Reid 19 years to overcome that and to win a Super Bowl. So you can't just abandon Shanahan necessarily, but he obviously still needs to grow. He just does. And that's one of those things about these younger, hot shot, smart coaches is that they need time to bake as well. If one of the best coaches in the history of the world, Andy Reid, it took him 19 years to win and still is now considered to be one of the best coaches. Why should we just, force Shanahan to just do it on a significantly faster timeline? You just can't. It's not necessarily fair. But the criticism towards Shanahan is definitely fair, without a doubt from my viewpoint. But to me, that just continues to show the genius of Andy Reid and the decisions that he makes. Because not only does he have great play calling, but he makes the best decision at the best moment. And also, and this is what I kept saying again and again and again about the gifts of Patrick Mahomes that he's been received, especially of having Andy Reid as his head coach. You saw in the Super Bowl, Andy Reid was sitting right next to him. Their butts were literally touching, okay? They were as close as you possibly could be to two other people, okay? And they were just going through it all. Having Andy Reid as the guy who gets to sit next to the quarterback, aka Patrick Mahomes, unbelievable benefit that Joe Burrow does not have, Josh Allen does not have, Jalen Hurts does not have, Tom Brady didn't even have that, Peyton Manning. I mean, we could just go on and on. You're having the best offensive coach, the genius, being able to sit right next to Patrick Mahomes and say, this is what we need, this is not working, this is what we need to do, rather than some 36-year-old offensive coordinator. It changes. It matters. So if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, God, you should just have nothing but gratitude for the fact that not only do you have Patrick Mahomes, of course, as your quarterback, but better believe that Andy Reid is a huge part of that success, and there won't be any debate about that. There was a big debate between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady about who's responsible. There is no debate that Andy Reid has already proven without Patrick Mahomes that he could win. Yes, he didn't win a Super Bowl because he never had any type of good quarterback. He never had it. You need to essentially have a Hall of Fame quarterback to win Super Bowls, and he never had that. You finally give him a real quarterback, and look at the dynasty that he's helped creating. It's not to take away anything from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes would still probably be a Super Bowl winner without Andy Reid as well. But the two of them are just absolutely deadly. So that's just my rant on that one. But what do you guys all think? Do you think Shanahan cost them the Super Bowl? Do you think Shanahan should be like on the hot seat and really be like called out for it? Please let me know in the comments below. Would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.